We Predacons forbid you to watch this video if you are under the age of 13. That means you must click the box and exit the video. Yes. But if you continue to watch, it shall avail you not. No. For now the power gauntlet has been cast. Predacons, terrorize!
Hey everyone, welcome back to Input, man, and in this review we're taking a look at the Transformers War for Cybertron trilogy, Earthrise, Ironhide, and Prowl Amazon 2-pack. Man, that is a mouthful. Okay guys, right off the bat, man, this box art is freaking sweet. Now what I like to normally do with the box art and stuff, of any box art that I like, especially from the new Transformers Hasbro stuff, is I like to cut the art out. And that's probably what I'm going to do here with this box. I'm just going to cut the art out and throw away the rest of the box. I just really like this artwork. It's just Ironhide and Prowl on the front of the box. There's some pew-pews going across that are purple, so obviously they are fighting some Decepticons creeps. And the picture goes to the side of the box right here as well. And it's even angled like all the other Earthrise and Siege stuff. So there's that. Now that we got the packaging out of the way, now we can dive straight into the figures of Ironhide and Prowl. Alright guys, so here we have Ironhide in his bot mode, and as you can see, this guy just looks like Ironhide. Just a baby masterpiece Ironhide. And I gotta say, man, I am really smitten with this version of Ironhide here. As much as I love the Siege one, I love this one just as much. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is an Earth mode. It is based on his Nissan Charionette van from the 80s and all that good stuff. But there is a lot of leftover Siege stuff here. And it's just a straight remold and retool of the Siege one. But I gotta say, it really pulls it off, man. If you didn't know any better, you would be hard-pressed to tell that this was just a reuse of the Siege mold. So, right off the bat, we're going to take a look. We're going to talk about his shield. This is the top of his van in vehicle mode. It does have this neat little action feature, excuse me. So you could put some pew-pews in there, and you could slide it down, and you could slide it up, and that's a nice touch. Now this is mainly for transformation. It's supposed to sit back like this in transformation, but there is a bit of an issue with it. So if you do have it up, his shield sits extremely low on the arm like this. But you can kind of remedy that and turn it around, and he's got this giant tower shield with this giant freaking death cannon attached to it. So it's really neat that Hasbro incorporated that into it, but it looks really off, right? It looks funny to me. But you can put it up here on the top of the shoulder like that, and that gives it what I feel like is the proper distance or proper ratio of arm to shield ratio, I guess you could say. But you can also take the slider and slide it down and kind of put it down there. And again, that I feel like works a lot better too. It's a play feature and it's an option, and I love it. Now, you would think that it does make him a little side heavy to whatever side that he is holding it on, but I feel like that's okay because he does have some really good ankle rockers. So let's get that out of the way. Let's talk about his gun. His gun is very much reminiscent of his G1 gun. However, it is not silver or chrome or anything. It is a standard black plastic, but it is painted a very dark gunmetal. I know it shows up brighter on camera, but this is a darker metallic paint on this thing. And I like it. I think it's a really cool addition. I think it's a real nice touch, and I think it's a great update. Because remember, these are G1 homages, so this is Earthrise Ironhide, not G1 Ironhide, right? So, let's bring in Siege Ironhide and do a comparison. Now, right off the bat, you would think that they share the same head. They do not. The heads are different molds. It's a very slightly remolded head on the Earthrise version of Ironhide. There is not as much sculpting on the Mohawk area as... Or, I'm sorry, the Earthrise figure doesn't have as much sculpting on the Mohawk as the Siege version does. So it is a different sculpt, but they somehow pulled off the exact same face. The face here and the face here, I don't see really any difference in. It is very Ironhide in both of them, so I don't know how exactly they were able to pull off the same sculpt. I mean, I know they're done with 3D renders now, so they probably just went in and smoothed out the 3D render. But I bet you dollar to donuts, that's the exact same face. Now, as you can see, I'll pull them back, and you can definitely start to see where the parts sharing comes into play and where the different parts are laid out. He does have the same forearms. He does have the same shoulder, or same bicep area, and he does have different shoulders. The shoulders are slightly remolded. Up here, there's 4 dots. There's 4 dots on Siege, where there's 2 on Earthrise, and the line work is different. So he does have different shoulders there. He does have the same crotch section, just one is molded in black plastic versus gray plastic, and as you can see on the Siege one, it's slightly painted up top. Really, honestly, it's amazing what a different shade of plastic and paint will do for the look of a certain area of a figure. The fists are the same fist, again, just molded in different color plastic. The thigh area is the same, and the hip joint is the same. So, again, a lot of reused parts here, and the feet are the exact same. Now, everything basically from the ankles to the thigh are new parts on Earthrise Ironhide. Like I said, it's amazing what new parts can do, right? Now, my Siege Ironhide is equipped with the upgrade kit, with the gap filler upgrade kit and everything. But the reason why I didn't take the upgrade kit out to talk about it is because I wanted to show you guys that if you do have the upgrade kit, it will work. Since they're the exact same fist and arms and stuff, your upgrade kits for gap fillers will work for your Earthrise Ironhide. So if you have this particular kit, or any kit really, that fills the gaps, it'll work. So don't be afraid to buy the gap fillers off of eBay for Siege Ironhide for your Earthrise Ironhide. So yeah, a lot of similarities here between the two. The chest is completely different, as you can see, but the inside is very similar. It's different molding, but the back part in here looks very similar, is what I'm trying to say. But it is a different molding. There is no square pieces down here on the bottom of Earthrise like there is on Siege. So there is some extensive retooling here, but there is a lot of reused parts, and I think Hasbro was able to really pull it off. Alright guys, so I know he's not fully transformed yet, but there's something I definitely wanted to talk about. In all of my reviews, I always address clear plastic and certain fears that I have with clear plastic when they use it in certain spaces or certain spots, right? So this piece is made up of a very solid red plastic. This is the roof for Ironhide's van mode, Earthrise Ironhide's van mode. These pieces right here are made out of a clear plastic, these side windows, which would be okay, but there is a notch. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's a notch. Yeah, it looks like you can. There's a notch right here that holds everything in place. So you're going to get a click, right? And it worries me over time because these, adding any kind of force or pressure on the clear plastic is always dangerous. So try to grab the piece with as much surface area as you can. Don't hold it down here and try to pinch it in. Just hold it, where the clip is, where the notch is, and then kind of push it from there. Be really gentle with these window pieces because being clear plastic can easily snap off. The clear plastic up here on the front windows, I wouldn't worry too much about it because these are just frictioned on. So over time they could possibly break, but there's not a whole lot of force on them that would suggest that they could break, if that makes any sense. I would be more worried about these side windows than these side windows. So what you do is you just plug it in. There's a slight remold here. So if you guys were wondering, no, it won't fit onto Siege Ironhide. Bit of a shame though, because looking at, I think that would have been something that would have been really cool. I guess you could make it fit if you just drilled a hole right here into Siege Ironhide. You could make it work. But then again, like the windows here and stuff, you would have to take these off, and you would have to definitely modify this piece and your Siege Ironhide to get this to work. But it could be done, and I kind of dig how how that might end up looking. But we're here to talk about Earthrise Ironhide. So you just plug this in right here, and there's going to be 3 tabs, 1, 2, 3, 3 holes, 1, 2, 3, and they all plug in really snugly and securely. And then just fold the windows down and finish putting them together. And there you go. So now my bumper doesn't like to clip in fully. So I'm pretty sure a little bit of plastic, some of the plastic might be a little too big, so I might have to go in and sand that down. But again, that's on my copy. I haven't seen that with anybody else's. Doesn't seem like it's a widespread issue. Now, they use the same tires and wheels that they did from Siege. They just painted them, or used black plastic here instead of any kind of paint or anything. And I gotta say, on top of everything, man, this Earth mode looks really killer. It looks very much like an 80s like van, I guess, like an 80s Japanese van. Very much reminiscent of that Nissan van Charionet that he was back in the day. Now, something that I wish they would have done, and I like the idea of them using the clear plastic for the windows, but they're not fully going with the idea. See, this whole piece is supposed to be a solid window, but they didn't add any kind of blue paint or anything like that to help suggest that this should be a window right here. And they did the same thing on both sides. So maybe, some paint or something, paint them blue or whatever, and then leave the front clear. That could possibly work if you guys are planning on modifying this. You guys can also plug the cannon, or his gun, into the roof and get some death robot on the go. The hammer from Siege Ironhide does plug in and work as well. It's 5mm port. There's no clearance issues, so you can definitely do that too if you wanted to. The yellow stripe does go all the way across, but it does get broken up by this hinge right here. Also, one thing I wanted to address, I know people had issues with these covers on the Siege mold. It looks like that they didn't quite fix it on the Earthrise mold. Mine come off extremely easy, as you just saw. But yeah, but I mean, it doesn't really bother me too much. It didn't really bother me on this one, because little things like that don't really bother me. Now, if he came broken, that would bother me. But little defects like that I can fix. Now, speaking of fixing that, it's real simple to fix that. All you do is heat up the plastic and push these two tabs right here together, and then cool the plastic down, and it just basically holds more. It holds tighter onto this piece right here. That's it. It's a really simple fix to do, but that's it. So now, if it seems like I'm kind of rushing through Ironhide, it's because I am, because this is a 2-pack, and I know you guys probably don't want to sit down for an hour and watch my review of the 2-pack, so I'm trying to squeeze it down to my normal, typical 30 minutes that I normally do. So here we've got Earthrise Prowl, right? And I will say, and I've said it before many a times, I am glad that I did not get the Siege figures for the Dotson mold. The only one I did get is Barricade, but I am glad that I waited to get the Dotson triplets, because this came out beautifully done. So if you guys wanted to know what the two molds look like, there is that comparison. This mold is definitely taller than the older Siege mold, for sure. As you can see, he's in an A stance. He is not, and he's still taller than Barricade by just a little bit with the A stance. So he's definitely taller than the Siege mold, and I will get to this in a second. But yeah, he is definitely taller than that Siege mold of Prowl. And if you guys want to know, this is starting to shape up really, really well. The only downside to this Prowl figure is he doesn't come with his shoulder cannons at all. I understand that Hasbro is going for more cartoon accuracy with this line, more than toy accuracy, but I really feel like they should have given us the option to have either look. We don't have to have show accurate or toy accurate. You know, we want the choices. I feel like more so than, you know, the choice made for us. So yeah, but I will say this trio is shaping up extremely nice for Earthrise. Now, if you guys watched my Blue Streak review, you guys would know that the issues I had with him are the clear plastic on the hinges, especially on the knees. They did the same thing with Prowl here. They used the clear plastic for the knee joint, and luckily for me, it's not pinned in too tight, and the camera's blurry, so I know you guys can't see it. But they're not pinned in too tight, which is great, but I'm pretty sure somebody out there might have theirs pinned in a little too tight. And to fix that, you're just going to pull that pin out. And again, I will address these little freaking foot covers on this figure. But all you're going to do is heat up a solder pin and heat up that pin itself and just kind of pull it out, push it out just a little bit, and that will loosen up your joint. They're not screwed in anymore. Hasbro decided to go with these pins, these push pins, over screws. Now, is this Prowl perfect? Absolutely not. As you can see, the inside pieces keep, I mean, they just, okay, they clip in, and they stay in, and they rotate fine, but they clip out so easily. So when I go to maneuver the foot, or pose him, or something, or bring this down just a little too far, it just clips out. Now, that is a good idea because you don't want to break it, and you don't want to add any added stress onto this clear plastic to have it fracture or crack or anything like that. So I am completely understanding of the reason why, and I don't know if that's on purpose. I'm just going to assume it's on purpose. But so I am just going to assume that that's the reason why they have it like that. So it's less, there's less of ability to break the figure. Now, Blue Streak, on the other hand, Blue Streak doesn't really do that. As you can see, I'm pushing on that, and it's bending this. It's bending that cover, but Prowl just pops out. But like I said, I'm not too worried about it. I'm looking at it as a safety feature for the plastic, the clear plastic, than anything else. Now, I do have one major QC issue with this, with mine, is that when I turn the head, well, I guess not anymore, but before I reviewed it, before I started the review, I could turn the head and the head would pop right off because there was too much paint. And before the review, I kind of fiddled with it, and I guess I fixed that problem. So if you guys have Prowl and he can't rotate his head, it's on a ball joint, okay? It's on a ball joint, and mine had a lot of excess paint in the head, and as you can see, there's still some paint inside the head. If it'll focus, but there is still some paint inside that head. It's just basically, it's just overspray. So get in there, clean it out, and you should be able to rotate Prowl's head perfectly fine. And that's what I had to do, I guess, for mine. Like I said, before I started the review, it wouldn't turn, but now it turns perfectly fine. And something I wasn't able to do for Blue Streak, because I don't have it, is do a G1 comparison. And there we go, we got G1 Toy Prowl. And I think this is one hell of an awesome update for a G1 Prowl. Everything's there. Everything is there for this to be Prowl. The windshield here, the tail lights here, basically the rear of the car becoming the front of the robot. Everything is here, and it's done extremely well. The wheels on the back of the arms right here. It's just a really, really amazingly well done update. The door wings, even down, and here's the part that trips me out, even down to the light bar and all of this back stuff. This piece right here is what the G1 head sits on, and on this figure, this piece right here, let me show you, if I can, this piece actually folds into the chest, locking it all into position. So every piece from the G1 toy is represented somewhere on this Prowl figure, and it's just done really well. It's a nice clean update. Absolutely love it. So let's put this guy in car mode and put him in car mode, and let's take a look at it. Okay guys, real quick, I saw Rodimus Primal's video, and I'm sure most of you guys did as well, where he had the broken piece on his back. Like I said, with clear plastic, making an entire hinge piece out of it is absolutely ridiculous, and it shouldn't be a thing. So what you want to do with this mold is, there are tabs right here on the side. So basically, you're just going to lift straight up where this is hinged. Lift straight up, and if it gets snagged, just work with it a little bit, lift straight up, and then over, like so. But be really careful, because, and then you'll just lift the front of the car up like that, okay? It can get stuck. If it gets stuck, for the love of God, don't force it. But I just wanted to show you guys that real quick. So, again, lift up, okay? And then lift up at the hinge and just kind of bring it all forward, and then do, move the car part forward like that. Okay, one more transformation must, okay, on this figure. All right, if you're going to transform, when you're transforming him, do not, I repeat, do not lock the front half of the vehicle mode down first, okay? Do the legs first, all right? Because the legs tuck underneath the top part of the car, all right? And then tuck everything, and then put the car together, and then put the arms up, okay? Do not lock the front part of the car first before you transform the rear of the car. Because if you do that, when you go to put these underneath, it puts added stress on these top plastic, clear plastic pieces. Again, clear plastic on the hinge. This has nowhere to go. This will flex out of the way, but you are putting undue stress on this hinge. So, remember, do not lock the front of the car mode first. Do the rear transformation first. Okay, guys, so I got Earthrise Prowl here into his vehicle mode. There is an issue on mine. Mine doesn't stay clipped down all the way. Again, I'm not bothered by it because 99% of all of my Transformers are displayed in bot mode anyway, so this doesn't bother me at all. Okay, the light bar on top is 100% removable. So if you guys want like a faux police car or something like that, or you wanted to give this to somebody else or whatever, that's an option. He does have the square peg up top, which means you can put his gun up top as well. And if you are so inclined, since it is the same mold, I have Blue Streak's shoulder cannon here. And although it is a different color, you guys can put that on top of the hood as well. So there is some cross-play value here between the figures. But I really do wish that Hasbro would have given us the option to have Prowl with some shoulder-mounted cannons instead of without. Just to have the option. And you guys know me, I say it in almost all of my reviews, options are a good thing. So, very reminiscent. He is about the size of his G1 self in car mode. It is really crazy how much this Prowl condenses down for his car mode. But everything for the Datsun is there. Like I said in my other review for Blue Streak, I think this mold is based more on the 400Z concept car that Nissan's been working on, more so than the older 280s. As you can see, mine's got a flat. He had a blowout on the highway. But yeah, I mean, everything's there. And something I didn't address or didn't show in my Blue Streak that I'll show here, the doors still work. So you can open and have some open doors. So if you display him in car mode, you can kind of display him off to the side like that or something with the door open. Or if you do stop motion like I do and you want to use Prowl, you can open up the door, put a little green screen thing, you know, do your green screen suit or seat or whatever in there as well. So it's really cool that there's options like that, which I think is really, really cool. Like I always say, options are awesome. And one quick thing I wanted to show you guys, the transformation on these two guys is damn near identical. I love it. I love it so much. The only difference is that G1's Prowl's arms fold up instead of just laying straight back. But like I said, it's damn near identical except for that. I absolutely love it. It's super, super cool. So, yeah, that'll do it for Prowl's part of this review, and I'll be right back with final thoughts. Time for final thoughts. I love this set. I really do. Even Ironhide has, you know, people had a lot of issue with the feet and the back door and all that stuff. I really think Hasbro should have used some newer feet for this. They should have remolded some feet, newer feet for Ironhide, and I think that would have definitely set Ironhide over the edge. But I think it just, you know, layman's terms, I think he is a really, really awesome update to this guy. Awesome, awesome update. Prowl, even more so, very much a really good update. This mold I'm absolutely smitten with, whether it's Blue Streak. I haven't gotten to Smokescreen yet, but whether it's Blue Streak or Prowl, I don't think you can go wrong with this mold. There are some QC issues with this mold so far. Like I said, the tabs on, you know, these tabs right here on Prowl, mine pop off extremely loose. The head on my copy of Prowl wouldn't move until I basically forced it to move. So that can be really scary. But there are QC issues, so make no mistake about that. But I do absolutely love this mold. It's a great update. Now, I guess, should you guys get this set, man, if you have this mold and you like this mold, you can't go wrong with it at all. Okay? The Ironhide is a phenomenal update, but if you're really, really happy with your Siege Ironhide and you don't see a need to get this Ironhide, I totally understand that reasoning as well. I can recommend this set hands down, especially if you skipped out on the siege figures of Prowl and Ironhide. I can definitely recommend it. I can also recommend the set if you do have either figure, because they are both great updates to those figures. Plus, this is a Cybertronian version. This is supposed to be the Earth version. So it's two different representations of the same character. So yeah, hard recommend for me on this set, guys. As always, I will see you guys next video, live stream, podcast, whatever it is. I will catch you then. Stay safe. Love all you guys out there. And say it with me now, guys. Cut it out. Later.